So I've been searching for the ultimate Spider-Man figure. I'm talking one that makes a bold statement and achieves what others can't. This isn't just any Spider-Man figure. It's the Amazing Yamaguchi, embodying not only great detail, but exceptional articulation. During my time of collecting, I've tested several Spider-Man action figures, mainly from two lines, Marvel Legends from Hasbro and SH Figuarts from Bandai, and those have been my go-to lines for the longest time because I enjoy them the most. But that's about to change as I give more lines a chance with their take on the web slinger. One company that has crossed my recommendations several times is the Japanese company Kyoto. Now I know most of you are seasoned collectors, so you probably know all of this already, but some of you aren't, so let me give you a quick rundown. Kyoto is a Japanese company known for its action figures and garage kits, and they're behind both the Revoltech and Amazing Yamaguchi lines. Amazing Yamaguchi features several takes on Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and My Hero Academia superheroes, plus other properties such as Transformers, Tokyo Revengers, and Yu-Gi-Oh! They have a pretty decent roster of Marvel characters too, including Spider-Gwen, Captain America, Deadpool, and even Wolverine. While all of this is great though, something steers many collectors away from this line: the design. Some collectors aren't fond of the distinctive design inspired by the artist Katsuhisa Yamaguchi, finding it very off-putting. I wasn't too keen on it at first either, but seeing how these figures pose so dynamically in the hands of other collectors is what encouraged me to give this line a shot. If you decide that you want this figure for your collection, I'll have a link to it on Nin Game in my description, where at the time of making this video it's currently in stock. By using that link, I do earn a small commission, which also helps me make more content here on the channel, so thanks in advance. With this being my first Amazing Yamaguchi figure, I want to share my thoughts on their presentation. The packaging goes for a minimal look that gets straight to the point. At first glance, I thought this looked good, but if you see how their boxes used to look, this is a massive downgrade. They used to have windows to see the figure inside, which is great if you need to spot any defects, especially if you're buying this in person. And their boxes used to have these crazy designs that match the energy of how stylized the figures are. You can tell that the boxes were influenced by comic book art, and it really grabs your attention. Looking at the rest of the box's design, you can see that it maintains that sleek design layout. The front of the box has the company logos, the name of the figure, and a close-up shot of the figure as well. And then flipping it over, there's more info, a bunch of shots of the figure posed dynamically, and an overview of the accessories, or as they call them here, option parts. Inside of the box there is a tray holding the figure and some accessories, a plastic bag with various hands, and an articulated stand with different attachments. You also get instructions for a full rundown of how to use the figure, which is always handy. When I say that Kyoto takes a lot, and I mean a lot of precautions to protect this figure and keeping it intact, I'm not kidding whatsoever. And you know what? I'm not mad at them. When you get a figure that costs almost $100 or more, it's great to know it's being treated with extra care. With the plastic removed, we can see the figure for what it is, and what it is something. As I stated earlier, the style of these Yamaguchi figures is far from normal, and it's more of an acquired taste. Despite its weird looks though, the suit's details look outstanding. Yamaguchi's first Spider-Man figure had that classic look that we all know and love, but this time they're going for a fancier, shinier look, and it looks pretty interesting. The figure has a good bit of weight to it, and the paint feels great too. Before we dive into the figure's design and all of the details, let me highlight where Kyoto pulled the suit design from. Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Man 2.0 draws inspiration from the Spider Armor Mark IV, first appearing in Amazing Spider-Man Volume 4, Issue Number 1 back in 2015. At the time of recording, I have not read the full story, but I do plan on reading it along with many other comics down the line. But for this video, I did put some research into it with assistance from my friend Jack Lerney, and the story is pretty fascinating, even having ties to the events of Superior Spider-Man. Superior Spider-Man's suit is one that Marvel Legends recently released, but I do think it would be interesting if Amazing Yamaguchi did their own take on it. During Dan Slott's Superior Spider-Man arc, Dr. Octopus took over Peter Parker's body, believing he could be a better Spider-Man. Under Otto's control, Peter's life took a totally different direction, even starting a global tech company called Parker Industries. When Peter eventually regained control of his body, he retained the company and its resources, which allowed him to design advanced tech, including the Spider Armor Mark IV. The suit was equipped with various tech enhancements, including enhanced durability and a stealth mode. It became a staple during the all-new, all-different storyline, playing a role in many of Peter's battles before its destruction in The Amazing Spider-Man Volume 4, Issue 31. You may also recognize this suit if you've played Insomniac's Spider-Man game on the PlayStation, where it was featured as an unlockable. The build of this figure will take some getting used to, but the sculpting and paintwork on this thing are truly impressive, perfectly capturing that shiny look of the Mark IV suit. It has sculpted web lines from head to toe, and muscular definition. One of the highlights for me is the black lining on the web lines, which makes them pop, though it is faded in some areas. Glancing at the back, we see more of the suit's texture details and muscular features to show how skin tight the suit is. The suit's back spider emblem is also an accurate depiction of what's seen in the comic. This does give away some of the articulation, but I find this detail just too cool not to mention right now. When pushing back the arms, the plates overlap the middle of the logo, giving you a better visualization of how the symbol would look if bunched up. Yamaguchi's design style is one of the main reasons collectors will shy away from these figures, and I used to feel the same way. The proportions on this thing can be a bit off-putting, whether you're looking at the small head, slim waist, or the thick muscular legs, all giving this figure an awkward appearance. In some ways, it reminds me of Spidey's design in Marvel vs. Capcom. Areas like the shoulders or elbows with the exposed joints might bother some collectors, but it is one of the keys to how Amazing Yamaguchi figures pose so dynamically. Alright, what about customization? What is Kyoto offering collectors with this Spider-Man that gives it a dynamic look and allows you to make it your own? Well, Kyoto has you covered with the various accessories included. They don't go overboard with it, they just give you exactly what you need, and most of it works. First up, we have these extra pairs of eyes, giving your figure some new expressions. Out of the box, the figure is using these wide eyes, but you can pop them out and then switch them with the ones you want instead. You have the option of squinted eyes, excited eyes, and shocked eyes, all the right expressions a Spider-Man figure needs. While it's a great way to mix up the combinations and unlock more expressions, it comes at the risk of losing the eyes, and that's why I'm so glad they included this separate tray for storage purposes. Not too long ago, I said that most of the accessories work well, and the reason behind that is because the eyes have this tendency to pop out of the socket when moving the head around. I think the reason behind this is that some of the plastic on the eye pegs is longer than it should be, and this leads to it getting pushed out by the rim of the neck. It's clearly a quality control issue with this figure, and so my best suggestion is to hold the eyes down as you're moving the head around to avoid losing these pieces and having to search for them endlessly. The next thing that we get several pairs of are going to be the hands. Spidey starts off with these fists, which also double as gripping hands, but then you have 5 extra pairs, which include wall crawling, perched, relaxed, splayed, and of course, the signature web shooting hand. Similar to the eyes, you can mix and match these pieces for whatever pose you're aiming for. You can also attach the web lines directly to the fist, giving you those swinging web poses. These same effects can be used with the web shooting hands, and the web lines are made from this hard plastic, so they're not meant to be bent or flexed. Besides the web lines, you have these spread out webs for a different look to him firing the webs, and we can't forget about the web wings which plug onto the back of the figure. They are a tedious accessory to work with because if you don't have the arms positioned properly, you may notice gaps in between, and that doesn't look right. So you may find yourself spending more time when it comes to posing with these particular accessories, and this is a part of the whole learning curve that the figure's articulation has. I know it isn't listed with the accessories on the box, but there is an articulated figure stand that comes with this figure. It's well built and can hold the weight of the figure with no problems. Something I applaud Kyoto for doing is including 2 methods of attaching the figure. They have a clamp and a peg that ports into the back. My favorite attachment of the 2 though is going to be the one that plugs into the back because that eliminates seeing the plastic around the waist or other areas where it'll hold the figure. Another attachment I think some of you may enjoy is the one that lets you connect the arm to a magnetic surface like a refrigerator for instance. Looking at the instructions, you'll find a demonstration on how to adjust the arm for the best results with this piece. With all of these accessories, you can make this figure your own, but let's not forget about what truly sets this Spider-Man apart from the rest, its insane articulation. When it comes to articulation, this figure doesn't just meet expectations, it shatters them. Let's break down the joints quickly, starting with the highlights. You've got a ball jointed head and neck for excellent tilt or rotation in all directions, butterfly joints for wide reaching poses, and a ball jointed diaphragm and waist for some serious twist action. The articulation doesn't stop there, with ball jointed shoulders, bicep swivels, single jointed elbows, wrist swivels and tilts, ball jointed thighs with swivels, single jointed knees, and more. This figure moves in ways you'd never expect. I mean, just the fact alone that I can bend the elbows this far in and same thing with the knees is truly impressive. But of course, the best way to show you all how well these joints move is to put the articulation to the test. So let's try out a few poses and see how well it handles them. This figure's joints allow for some extreme poses, and it's clear that Kyoto aimed to make this the most dynamic Spider-Man figure on the market. But you must prepare yourself when posing this figure, because the advanced articulation has a learning curve. At first, the joints might look odd when posing, especially if you're new to this type of figure, but with patience and practice, you'll find that this figure can hold just about any pose you throw at it. That said, the articulation can be both a blessing and a curse. While the numerous joints offer a wide range of dynamic poses, some users may find this posing process frustrating at first. Something else to keep in mind is that the right arm may make its way out of the socket as you're moving the joint around, so every now and then you'll need to push it back in. The grip is still firm though, it doesn't fall out immediately if you were to go shaking this figure around, but it's something to just watch out for as you're posing the figure. After spending time with the Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Man 2.0, I can confidently say that this figure is something special. From its striking design to its unmatched articulation, this figure truly stands out in the crowded world of Spider-Man collectibles. The design, while polarizing at times, can capture the essence of Spider Armor Mark IV in every way. The detail in the sculpt, the range of accessories, and the thoughtful articulation make it a must-have for anyone who loves dynamic posing. It is truly a Spider-Man figure that has no limits. I dare say, the most posable Spider-Man figure ever. But of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this figure, so be sure to share them in the comments. I hope to catch you in the next one with more action figure goodness, but until then, peace.